Hello everybody and welcome back to the Rangers Review. You join us here at Ibrox after Rangers 2, Dundee United 2. And Chris, as much as things change, things seem to stay the same with the Rangers. Another excellent first 45 performance. Some of the players putting in the best performance, I think, since that Victoria Pilsen game that we always reference, and then it falls apart at half time. The malaise sets in, as it so usually does this season. Dundee United managed to take the lead and then Rangers salvage a point.
Ultimately, it's just not good enough, is it? No, ultimately, it's another 2 points dropped. It's Rangers potentially further behind at the top of the table. It's Rangers still languishing in the middle of the Premiership. It's a squad that's got so many answers, but bigger answers for the directors, the board, the executive here. Now, we spoke pre-match about the managerial situation. Rangers can't afford to not have a permanent manager in place. One game you can kind of get away with it, but they didn't because they've fluffed that one already. This situation can't go on for another 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Another 8 games or another 7 games, I think it is now. Rangers need answers. Rangers need a bit of clarity. Rangers need big changes because this team and the way it's performing, it's nowhere near good enough.
Yeah, we'll start with matters on the park this afternoon. Like I said, Rangers did play well in that opening 45 minutes, but Stevie Smith said it in the post-match presser there. It's no point in playing good for 45 minutes, no point in playing well for half a game. He would rather play terribly for 90 minutes and take the 3 points. And I think that's just so frustrating for fans this season, that they can see what this team can do, but it just seems to pack up the tools at half-time and forget you've still got another half to play.
We see it in flashes. We see moments from players. We see moments from the team. We think there's something there. Teams that go and win things, successful Rangers teams, good Rangers teams, they don't play in moments. They play for weeks on end. And this side has shown nothing to suggest that it can play for 90 minutes. Never mind go and string a sustained run of results together. It has to change. Whether it's a tactical thing, whether it's a quality thing, whether it's a mentality thing. Someone has to get to the bottom of it, because you can't just keep turning up, playing for half a game and thinking job's done. That's not how it works at this football club. That's not going to get you through. That's not going to win you silverware. So that has to change. Stevie kind of touched on it there, speaking about standards, and it has to be not just certain days during the week, not just in certain halves. It has to be all the time. And I do wonder how many of that dressing room, how many members of that dressing room, he said in there that they're hurting and they understand it. How many really get it? Because turning up and playing well for 45 minutes, knocking it about and scoring a goal, great, well done, but doesn't get you 3 points, doesn't win you things, and that's something that certainly has to change.
Yeah, absolutely. Just no consistency between games, between even halves in a game. Yeah, if you can't win 2 halves of football, how are you supposed to win 2 games of football? I think that's really the overwhelming feeling. The other big part of today was that Russell Martin is obviously out of the building. He has been the direction where a lot of fans have been pointing their anger, but just because he's gone doesn't mean that anger has subsided. We've still seen today 2 separate banners. One, I think, probably directed more at the players. The second was very pointedly directed at Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart. There's still a lot of anger around this place towards those sitting in that director's box.
I think even the boos at the end of the game, people were booing. They've almost got accustomed to hearing the whistle and then having a boo these days, but it was a bit half-hearted, wasn't it? There wasn't really a lot of anger and a lot of venom in it. I think people just accepting this. Now, you used malaise earlier on. That can be used to just to describe this club in general right now. It was just half-hearted. People, they're angry, but they're not that angry because they've come to live through it and come to almost accept it. That has to change. Speaking there about things that has to change, as soon as you start accepting second best, it's a slippery slope, and Rangers can't afford to head any further down that. The banner for Union Bears in the first half, I think that was directed at the players. I think they've actually got off quite lightly. Now, we've done a number of these shows, obviously, over the course of the season. A lot of our comment, a lot of criticism, rightly directed at Russell Martin. We spoke a lot about the board and the executive and other aspects of it. I think the players in general have got off a wee bit lightly, perhaps. That's not going to last forever. I don't think they see it that way, though. I think they feel that it's been quite harsh on them, and they've really felt the brunt of it. I don't think they've really felt what this support and what the atmosphere in the city can really be like for an underperforming Rangers side. So the banner, I think the first one was certainly directed at them. There's no there's no dubiety over who the second one is aimed at, and those three names, Martin, Thelwell and Stewart, they've been the names of supporters for quite some time. One has gone. How long will the other two last? If you ask a lot of these supporters, they would make that change. But you look at how this managerial search has unfolded and what we've heard, what we've written, what we've said over the last fortnight, nothing to suggest that those changes are going to be made anytime soon. So ultimately there can be as many chants and banners and red crosses through faces as the fans want. Heard nothing to suggest that is going to have any impact at present, but it feeds into the general feeling round about this club, and it's not a club where all parts of it are functioning properly, and it's certainly not a club where all parts of it are pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit futile at the minute, those protests towards the members of the board. And in terms of this now, level of toxicity towards Kevin Thelwell, it seems to be that it's certainly reaching the point that it was at Russell Martin when he left. I think that Rangers fans are now looking for someone to turn that ire towards, and when it's not happening on the park, the people who are in the boardroom just seem to be the natural point at them, because these are the people who we can blame, you know.
That's always the danger, and once you take the lightning rod, and that was certainly Russell Martin, there's no question about that. He was the main focal point for all the criticism, all the anger, all the comment that was all directed at him. Once that's removed, people then look for someone else to go and point fingers at, and someone else to go and shout at. Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart are those two people right now. It could easily move on to Andrew Kavanagh, it could easily move on to Parag Marathi. That's just the nature of this Rangers support, and we've seen that in recent seasons for quite some time now, a number of different situations. Until they get the right people, or what they think are the right people in charge of this club, they will keep demanding change. So we don't think that change is going to come. But while the club finds itself in this situation, while results and performances are at the level that they are at, everyone here should be looking over their shoulder. Everyone here should be fighting for the future. Everyone here should be striving for the very best. That's what this football club demands, or that's what it should demand. That's what this football club should merit. That's what these supporters here should demand and merit. And if that's not been met, then you're in the wrong place. So everyone here, regardless of how well or otherwise you think you're doing your job, it goes from chairman right down to every member of staff here, they should be doing better. Because I said there, this club doesn't feel as if it's all pulling in the one direction. It's hard to see that this is a club that's on the up and up. It's a club that's stagnating. It's a club that's not moving in the direction that it should be.
Well, that takes us on to where Rangers go now from this, and I think that we've asked that question so many times so far this season. That performance today suggests to me that Rangers need to get this managerial situation sorted as soon as possible, because Rangers are rudderless at the minute. They look as though they're lost, like you said. We don't have a consistent way forward, and it's kind of all over the place. Now, if Kevin Muscat is to be the man and he doesn't take charge as we're expected until the latter part of November, we are in a very real situation where that is the kind of game we could see over and over and over again. And if that does come to pass, this season will be finished by the time Kevin Muscat comes in. And then what happens is you're in this cycle that Rangers have found themselves in so many times before, where a new manager comes in. Alright, he might do well to the end of the season. The league's probably gone. The League Cup could be gone. The Scottish Cup is still up for grabs, but that's not going to be enough. And then he gets 6 months, and then he doesn't start on a fresh foot in the next season, and then have we wasted the opportunity of Kevin Muscat this time. So it's integral for me that situation gets resolved ASAP.
I had a number of conversations about this last week. We also spoke pre-match a wee bit about it, and wasn't on a video, didn't do a show last week, but as this situation unfolded, at the start of the process, this felt like this could have been the afternoon that really kickstarts Rangers season. If all had gone to plan with Steven Gerrard, if he comes in, you have a new manager, you get off to a good start, it builds a bit of momentum, gets a bit of feel-good factor back, you then bounce into Thursday, you think a couple of big games, Killie and Hibs, and you've then got that Celtic game. The first half dozen games or so was all laid out there for the next Rangers manager to go and to really change the narrative round about this squad, this club, and make a big difference, a big impact. That situation's gone. They botched the Steven Gerrard hunt. He is obviously not going to be the next Rangers manager. Kevin Muscat will be, but they've painted themselves into a corner, and they now have to go to a guy who's a couple of cracks at the job, clearly wants the job, but has unfinished business in China and wants to try and finish that before he comes in here. that's no use to Rangers. Rangers needed their manager in this afternoon to go through that process that I've just spoken about. I don't understand why anyone thinks that it's acceptable for a manager to come in 6, 7, 8 weeks down the line. It makes no sense from Rangers, and we've already seen the damage that's done today. Another 2 points dropped. The chances of winning the title before a ball was kicked today were slim. I don't think any Rangers fan would say this is a group of players that's got the mark of champions about it. But if you had kind of gone through that process that I've outlined, you never know. That's another 2 points drop. That makes the task infinitely more difficult. And as you've said there, that's a 90 minutes that we could easily see against Kelly. A 90 minutes we could easily see against Hibs. How much more damage is done before this situation is rectified? Stevie Smith saying in his press conference there he will take training on Monday. Still no clarity over what's going to happen on Thursday night. And Rangers are in the situation where they drop any more points in the Europa League, and you can all but wave goodbye to that as well. Asked Russell Martin after the last game, can you still qualify? And said yes, you need 4 wins. Given some of the fixtures that Rangers have got coming up, you wouldn't back them to go and beat Porto or to beat Roma, so you can write those 2 off already. Your wiggle room is rapidly disappearing, and I don't get why this situation has been allowed to. Well, I understand why we've got to this situation, because it's not been handled well. But I don't get why so many fans seem to think that it's okay for this situation to be unfolding right now.
Yeah, well, I think the need for clarity is clear after today.
That's the only thing that's clear right now.
Yes, that's all that's clear, is that we need some sort of decision for the club and some sort of path forward out of this mess that the club are currently in at the minute. That'll do us from Ibrox this afternoon. Chris, you're heading out to that Brand game later on in the week, so we may or may not have a manager by the time that you get there. But thanks a lot for joining us today on the Rangers Review, and keep across all the social media sites for more reaction from Rangers 2, Dundee United 2.